Hello everyone, welcome to IPM IAS Academy's daily news highlights. Today is 1st of August 2024. So let's see what are the important news for today's discussion. And before that, if you have not yet subscribed the channel, please do subscribe IPM IAS Academy's channel so that you will continue to get updates regarding civil service examination and current affairs. And make sure that you enable the bell icon also so that you will get the notification. Pooja loses IAS candidature, debarred from the future exams. So we know the controversy regarding Pooja Khedkar. So the Union Public Service Commission said on Wednesday that it had cancelled the candidature of probationer Indian Administrative Service Officer Pooja Khedkar and permanently debarred her from all the future examinations and selections of the commission. She was found guilty of acting in contravention to the provisions of the Civil Services Examination 2022 rules. In the context of this issue, the UPSC has thoroughly examined the available data of more than 15,000 finally recommended candidates of the Civil Services Examination from the year 2009 to 2023 for a period of 15 years with respect to the number of attempts availed by them. So based on the investigation, they could understand that except Pooja Khedkar, nobody has done any malpractices associated with the entry to civil services. So try to understand more about UPSC and what are their functions, what are the constitutional provisions which are connected with UPSC, etc. These are the important points you need to understand. And as a civil service aspirant, this is an important matter of ethical consideration also. Why? Because you are all appearing for the examination. So make sure that your attempt is in a proper manner. Your way to civil service examination is transparent and ethical. So this particular news is coming in page number 1, General Studies 2, Indian Polity. Ex-Health Secretary Preeti Sudan is now UPSC chairperson. So this news is also associated with Union Public Service Commission. The former Union Health Secretary Preeti Sudan was appointed chairperson of the Union Public Service Commission after Manoj Soni resigned from the post earlier this month. Ms. Sudan, currently a member of the UPSC, will take charge on Thursday and will have a tenure till April 29, 2025 or till further orders. She will turn 65 in April next year. So here, who is appointing the chairperson of UPSC? The president is appointing the chairperson of UPSC. The president has approved the appointment of Preeti Sudan, the member of UPSC, under clause 1A of the article 316 of the constitution for performing the duties of the chairman UPSC with effect from August 1, 2024 till further orders or till April 29, 2025, whichever is earlier. So very important to understand that who is appointing the UPSC chairperson and what is UPSC. Already I mentioned UPSC is a constitutional body. What are the functions of UPSC is important, and what are the constitutional provisions and the articles which are concerning the Union Public Service Commission is important, on which all examinations Union Public Service Commission is taking initiatives. All these points are really important, and how they are actually connected with president. What are the duties and responsibilities of UPSC in connection with the president? All these points you need to understand. So this news is actually coming in page number 4, General Studies 2, Indian Polity. Judiciary can direct government to conduct a performance audit of its laws, says Supreme Court. So here the power of the Supreme Court, or a directive of the Supreme Court to the government, saying that whatever laws or statutes that you are actually making, you need to conduct a performance audit also. Okay, so in the ground reality, what is happening? What is the performance of that particular statute or the law? That you need to understand. Justice Narasimha, who wrote the judgment, said, every government has a constitutional duty to ensure that the purpose and object of the statute is accomplished while implementing it. Okay, so that is a responsibility of the government to ensure this, the purpose of the statute is accomplished. It has additional duty to closely monitor the working of the statute. Your job is not ending with the formulation of a particular statute. No, how it is actually performing, how it is actually implemented, that is also coming under your purview only. The government must have a continuous and a real-time assessment of the impact that the statute is having. So the government should be continuously monitoring this. the performance of this particular statute. Assessing the implementation of a statute is an integral part of the rule of law. Okay, when you're making a law, you need to ensure that it is applicable to all, it is performing really well, it is working for the welfare of the people. All these things you need to ensure, and it is an important part of rule of law also. So rule of law means everybody is equal before the eyes of law. It is actually a concept which was propagated by A.V. Dicey. The purpose of such a review is to ensure that a law is working out in practice as it was intended. So when you are creating the law, what was the intention behind it? Whether it is functioning, whether it is fulfilling that intention or not, that matters. Justice Narasimha said, constitutional courts were fully justified in giving the government direction to conduct a performance audit of its laws, as the judiciary occupies a unique position to assess the working of the statute. So we know that judicial review is an important element or important power of judiciary, and apart from that, judiciary always have an important role to monitor what is happening in the lawmaking process, whether it is going against the constitution or not, whether it is going against the justice in our country. So in the context of that, it is very important for the government to review and to audit their performance, the statute's performance. So based on this article, you need to understand about the judiciary, the power of the judiciary to intervene in these matters. You should also understand about how the policies are actually framed or formulated in the government. And this is coming in page number 4, General Studies 2, Indian Polity. India-China hold 30th round of border talks. Both agree to uphold peace and tranquility. So basically, India and China is going through a lot of confusion or conflict of interest is prevailing between both the countries. So in that context only the meeting is actually happening, and the objective of both the nations is to maintain peace and tranquility. But how can you maintain that is the question. India and China on Wednesday held 30th meeting of the Working Mechanism for Consultation and Coordination of India-China Border Affairs, WMCC, in New Delhi, during which the discussion was in-depth, constructive and forward-looking, and both sides agreed to maintain momentum through established diplomatic and military channels, the Ministry of External Affairs said. In the meeting, India and China took a bold initiative to discuss regarding maintaining the momentum through established diplomatic and military channels. The restoration of the peace and tranquility and respect for the LAC, that is line of actual control, are an essential basis for restoration of normalcy in bilateral relations. If you want to see peace and cooperation among both the countries, it is very important to address the problems associated with line of actual control. This also comes amid speculation that the government is considering relaxing some of the economic restrictions on Chinese companies following the recommendations of the latest economic survey, which called for more foreign direct investment from China. So basically we are opening more scope for the Chinese investment in our country through the budget also. So during the time of conflicts, we actually introduced many economic restrictions and economic sanctions, etc. But now we are not in that situation. We are trying to improve our relations, and in the process of improving our relations, it is very important to open our economy also. To have a cordial economic relation is really needed for both the countries, because we know that China and India are two important democratic giants from the Asian continent, and both the countries have its own influence in the international arena also. The Western countries is always looking at developments in China and India, especially the bilateral relations between India and China. So in this context, try to understand about the relationship between India and China. What are the crucial issues associated with bilateral relations, especially line of actual control? Where is it located? And what is the problem associated with that? And how is our economic relations? Why economic restrictions were imposed in the past? All these points you need to have an idea. Especially please have an idea about the present situation regarding India and China. So this news is coming in page number 4, General Studies 2, International Relations. A bill to replace Aircraft Act tabled in Lok Sabha amid protest. So this is introduction of a bill in connection with Aircraft Act. So what is it? The Civil Aviation Ministry has proposed a new Bharatiya Vayuyan Vidhayak 2024 to bring the examination used to test the use of radio communication equipment on aircraft within the ambit of Directorate General of the Civil Aviation. So this is the crucial point. Okay, so the examination or the test in connection with the radio communication equipment on aircraft. Okay, basically the pilots, the aspiring pilots and other people who would like to work in this industry, they were failing or they were actually facing challenges in association with this particular test. So right now this bill will make this particular test under the ambit of the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, DGCA. The statement of the objects and reasons states that the bill is being introduced because of the 90-year-old Aircraft Act has been amended several times and a need is felt to address the ambiguities and confusion experienced by the stakeholders, to remove redundancies, to enable ease of doing business and to provide for manufacture and maintenance in the aviation sector. Basically, why they have introduced this particular bill? There are multiple reasons for that. One is an age-old bill, and then they felt the need to address the ambiguities in the act and also to remove redundancies, to enable ease of doing business and also to provide for manufacture and maintenance in the aviation sector. To come up with innovations in the aviation sector only, they are coming up with this particular bill. The proposed legislation will bring the radio telephone operator restricted, that is RTR certificate and license from the Department of the Telecom to the DGCA. So DGCA means Directorate General of Civil Aviation, and ease the process of pilots as they can secure all their certificates from one authority. Basically, the objective of this bill is to make the process for these pilots easier. The exam is also conducted for aircraft maintenance engineers and flight dispatchers. Okay, so this examination is conducted for not only for pilots and others also, aircraft engineers and flight dispatchers also the examination is conducted, and for all of them they were actually having a challenge in accessing the certificate because it is not coming under a single authority. Right now they are trying to bring it in the single authority so that they can avail the certificates from one authority. In the context of this news, try to understand about this particular bill, what are the important features which are actually mentioned in the bill, and this is coming in page number 6, General Studies 2 and Indian Polity. IAFs largest multilateral exercise to begin this month. So Indian Air Force is all set to host its largest multilateral exercise, Tarang Shakti. Very important to note this, Tarang Shakti. It is the largest multilateral exercise going to happen in 2 phases in August and September. So 18 countries, 10 of them with air assets will join the exercise, which will see a total of 150 aircraft, both foreign and Indian Air Force, soar into the skies over Sulur and Jodhpur. So this is happening in 2 phases and in 2 places also. So one is at Sulur in Tamil Nadu and the other is at Jodhpur. So the invitation actually sent to many countries, almost around 51 countries, and out of these 51 countries, 10 countries will be participating in the event. The objective of this particular event is to foster interoperability and also to share best practices, and in that context we can also showcase our indigenous defense industry. Besides the observer countries, Germany, France, Spain and the UK are scheduled to take part in phase 1, while phase 2 will see participation of Australia, Bangladesh, Greece, Singapore, United Arab Emirates and the US. So in 2 phases you can see the participation of different countries. So we already mentioned this is actually happening in 2 places also, Sulur and in Jodhpur. Several countries which are taking part in the multilateral exercise Pitch Black in Australia will join the exercise on their return leg. So those who are actually participating in Pitch Black, which is actually conducted by Australia, organized by Australia, so they will also be participating in our program, that is Tarang Shakti. The phase 1 will be held from August 6 to 14 at Sulur in Tamil Nadu and see participation of 32 foreign aircraft. The second phase to be held from September 1 to 14 at Jodhpur and will see participation of 27 fighters. Okay, so this is about this particular event. So try to understand about this event, and the event name is Tarang Shakti is the name of the event. 10 countries are actually participating in this event. Try to understand the participants' names also and read about this particular article, and also read about Indian Air Force. Okay, in the broader perspective, you should also understand about the Indian military. So there is an important information also, that is the Indian Navy will participate in phase 1 with its MiG-29K carrier-borne fighters. Okay, so read about this article and understand more about Indian Air Force, Indian Navy and Tarang Shakti. This is coming in page number 6, General Studies 3, Internal Security. Unnatural disaster. Yesterday we discussed about the Kerala landslide happened in Wayanad and the devastating effects it actually made in the state. Kerala must restore denuded flora and rehabilitate people in vulnerable areas. So that is the focus of this particular article. The climate change can encourage unprecedented weather, precipitating natural disasters of magnitudes that may surprise local respondents. Parts of Kerala have been bearing a brunt of heavy rains during the southwest monsoon, and landslides are a yearly affair. So, every year you can see landslides are actually happening in Kerala, but the intensity of the landslide in Wayanad was really huge this time. The Chalia River here springs from an altitude of around 2 kilometers and flows in a sheer path down towards Vellarmala, bringing fast waters that also sweep relatively more sediment downstream. So Chalia River, this time because of the more rain and landslides, the river flows into the less steep land where many of the deaths have been reported. So that was the reason for this particular incident. The geographical peculiarities of the landslide prone Idukki, Kottayam, Malappuram and Wayanad have been evident for years, and they also feature prominently in landslide risk maps also. So these areas are prone to landslides. Okay, we know that. And the landslides are more common in ecologically fragile areas. The monsoons have been producing more short bursts of intense rain, resulting in some soil types becoming easier to dislodge, while quarrying, linear infrastructure development, construction activities and monocropping have compromised ecosystems' ability to cope up with changing natural conditions. So here you can see that one is natural problems. Okay, the factors which are affecting landslide is natural problems. On the other hand, you can also talk about the human-made problems or the man-made problems or the causes also. So all these are contributing to this landslide, which actually make the ecosystem more fragile. As recommended by the Western Ghats Ecology Expert Panel, Kerala must also decline engineering projects in ecologically sensitive areas and their surroundings, and constitute, equip staff and empower expert committees that deliberate the feasibility of other projects here. Indeed, the panel's recommendations were designed to tame the effects of unpredictable weather without also denting economic growth. But Kerala today is sliding past the point of having an option to balance the development needs with environment concerns. So here the concluding point is regarding the Western Ghats Ecology Expert Panel. So it was actually led by Madhav Gadgil. So you have to read about that. So based on the Gadgil's report, we need to decline the projects, the more infrastructure developments in that area. The developmental projects in that area need to be declined. Otherwise, it will affect the ecology of that region. These types of incidents can occur in the future. So this is what the conclusion of this particular article is. So in this context, try to understand about landslides. Okay, the causes of landslides, the types of landslides, and the factors which are actually affecting the landslides, etc. And in the specific geographical location of Kerala, how landslide is affecting the people. Okay, which are the areas that are prone to landslides, and what are the important details regarding the Western Ghats Ecology Expert Panel? What were their major recommendations? These things you need to understand. So this is an editorial coming in page number 8, General Studies 3, and it is a part of the disaster management and environment. Problem power. Small modular reactors must deal with the cost of proliferation resistance. In this article, they are talking about the importance of nuclear power and especially the small modular reactors and the cost involved in it. We know that how the energy is actually generated in our country. So there are different ways in which the energy is actually generated. But if you are depending on the nuclear energy as a resource, then the investment will be huge. All those points are actually discussed in this particular article. The Indian government is planning to team up with the private sector to study and test small modular reactors. The government is teaming up with the private sector to test the small modular reactors. And why they are actually testing the small modular reactors? We mainly depend on coal because it is affordable. Okay, it is affordable. But on the other hand, the nuclear power is also really important, but the problem associated with nuclear power is the cost involved in it. Okay, for generating nuclear power, the cost involved in it is really high. The nuclear power offers a sufficiently high and sustainable power output, but the cost involved in building safe and reliable reactors is actually a problem or a concern for the country. Everywhere when you are actually dealing with the nuclear reactors or nuclear power, we need to be very careful because in the international arena it will create a confusion. Okay, the other countries may take it as an initiative to make the nuclear weapons. So that is the reason why we need to be very careful when you are actually dealing with nuclear reactors and the nuclear energy. The IAEA has touted the use of safeguardable reactor designs, but such solutions will increase capital cost. Subsequently, SMR, small modular reactors generations may also require more enriched uranium, especially if their feasibility is pegged on longer periods of continuous generation or more sophisticated systems to increase fuel use efficiency, which would increase the operational surface area and generation cost. So in any way, if you look at the nuclear power generation in our country, it is costly. Even if it is through small modular reactors, it will be costly, because if small modular reactors, we are looking at it for long-term power generation, so then it will definitely cost a lot for the for instilling such a reactor. It will cost a lot. With this article, please try to understand about the nuclear power, the advantages of nuclear power and the disadvantages of nuclear power, and in the future, the long run, what are the benefits the country will have if you are following the nuclear power, and what are the other sources of energy or other sources of power generation in our country. Do understand about these things in this particular context, and also try to have an idea about what is this small modular reactors and how it will perform and how it will function. It is coming in page number 8, General Studies 3, Science and Technology. The global struggle for a pandemic treaty. So this is in connection with the World Health Organization and the 94 member countries. They actually failed to finalize a historic pandemic agreement, an international treaty designed to fortify global pandemic preparedness and implement mechanisms for prevention of the same. So they failed to finalize this one. And in the 77th World Health Assembly, they actually come up with two significant developments. And one is they agreed on a package of amendments to the international health regulations. So try to understand about it, more about it in this area, that package. And the second one is they extended the mandate of the pandemic treaty negotiating body, namely Intergovernmental Negotiating Body, INB, and simulating that the proposed WHO pandemic agreements must be completed as soon as possible. So these are the two important developments that actually happened in that particular meeting, that is the World Health Assembly. Okay, so read about it and try to understand more about these two developments that happened there. And apart from that, they also discuss about the pathogen access and benefit sharing, and the technology transfer, intellectual property, its importance, and One Health. So what is this pathogen access and benefit sharing? The three key contentious issues in the latest draft of the pandemic agreement remain significant obstacles to its adoption. One is a pathogen access benefit sharing mechanism, the technology transfer, local production and intellectual property, and the One Health approach, which emphasizes coordinated public health measures based on animal, human and environmental health. So basically these are the three challenges for adopting this particular agreement. So read about this and read the details about this pathogen access and benefit sharing, how it is affecting it, and the technology transfer and intellectual property related problems, and also the One Health initiative. So all these things you need to understand about the pandemic treaty. So it is to improve your understanding regarding the WHO and its initiatives and the importance of having a pandemic treaty, because we already mentioned a pandemic, a global pandemic, that is COVID-19 pandemic, and we know the problems associated with it. So such type of pandemics in the future need to be curtailed and we need to have measures in place. That is the reason why they are trying to come up with a pandemic treaty. So read about this article and understand about it. So this is coming in page number 8, General Studies 2, and it is a part of health and also a part of international relations. So here is an important announcement about the guided PCM program 2025. So the scholarship test for the program is available in the description, so please do take the test. It is very important. If you are getting really good marks, you will have concession in the fee, and it is clearly ideal for students, working professionals and passionate IAS aspirants. So the most advantage of this particular course is you can study at your own convenience, anywhere, anytime. You can actually prepare for this examination. So you will be having recorded classes for all the general study subjects. You will get experienced faculty guidance, psychological well-being sessions, current affairs sessions, expert sessions by civil service officers, goal setting sessions, CSAT, prelims analysis, mains answer writing sessions, etc. And all these in a self-learning mode. And it is not only self-learning mode, you will have live classes also. But if you are not able to attend the live classes, you will get the recordings for the classes also. Okay, so please don't wait. Register for the test. It is there in the description. And another important reminder, if you are not yet subscribed the channel, please subscribe the channel to continue to get the updates regarding civil service examination and daily current affairs.